cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
You ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
Oh, great. Thanks, Mother, for replacing the baby aspirin with LSD.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountain?
All right, welcome into the View from C-Deck. We've been absent for a while due to some COVID and holiday issues, mostly COVID on my end, but we're good now. But we're not so good because our Ohio State Buckeyes just fell to Georgia in the Peach Bowl in a game that it looked like we had it with about 9 minutes left in that game. It looked like that game was over when we held them to a field goal. Actually, we should have got a fourth down stop, but ended up being a field goal, not hurting us. Anyway, Georgia beats us 42-41. A lot to talk about, though. Some people raised C.J. Stroud, put himself permanently in the all-time great category, I think. Ryan Day coached a great game, but also lost yet again in a big game like this. And Jim Knowles has everybody wondering, oh, shit, is this not the guy? I thought he was the guy, but maybe he's not the guy. I don't know. But, Casey, tell me how you were feeling as Noah Ruggles kicked sailed wide left, though, on Saturday night.
Yeah, I to be honest, I couldn't even watch. I was like, I went in the other room and I'm just listening because I'm like you. I didn't expect him to make it because his long field goal is like a good cutoff. Like he's not breaking his long field goal, and it's like 48, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was 50, and I was just, once Stroud ran for that long run, we're on the 30, I'm thinking, we got this. We need 5 yards. We got plenty of time, 2 timeouts, easy. And then we go backwards. And
Georgia called a timeout, so we ended up with like 3 timeouts, basically.
Yeah. I was hoping we threw it 3 times because with our receivers and quarterback, odds are we're going to catch one of them. And
problem is we didn't have a couple of those receivers at that point, but yeah.
True, but still, Emeka, Xavier had himself a really nice touchdown. We have options. I mean, we were missing all kinds of guys. That was what pissed me off during the broadcast, too. It's like they didn't shine any light on that whatsoever.
No, this is where I'm going to give Ryan Day a ton of credit. We're down in the fourth quarter. Now, we don't get any points here, but just put it this way. We're down our top 3 running backs, our top 2 wide receivers, and our top tight end. And we're winning. We still scored 41 points. I mean, we had Marvin for the first 3 quarters of the game, but who's overcoming that?
Yeah.
Who's overcoming that?
I know.
Nobody's overcoming that. And now let's see who those guys are. Oh, wait. A Heisman type running back in Henderson when he's healthy. A Heisman type receiver in JSN when he's healthy. And another Heisman type receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. when he's healthy. And then some other solid players. I mean, it's hard to overcome that much loss, which is why I give Day a lot of credit. That was an A-plus game plan, just like Clemson in 2020 was an A-plus game plan they came up with. So aggressive. We basically said, we're going to run the ball to keep you honest, and that's it, though. Like, we're not really trying to establish the run in any sort of way, and we're going to beat you over the top and beat you over the middle and beat you any way we can passing the ball. And it was beautiful. And C.J. Stroud executed it beautifully. He had to be nimble in the pocket because Jalen Carter did. I mean, Jalen Carter, I think his draft stock fell massively in this game. He's out of shape and not on the field enough for a player his caliber. But CJ also sidestepped him the couple times he did get through, makes great plays down the field. And as we've all been calling for week after week after week after week, everybody in Buckeye Nation, he ran the damn ball when it was there and when he needed to, and he did it really well. Hats off to him. Like I said right at the beginning, one of our podcasts in the offseason is going to be an all-time 85-man roster. And when I first started making it, kind of halfway through the year, I was just kind of doing it some free time. I had him on the list. And then after the Michigan game, I took him off it. I'm like, can't have an 0-2 quarterback on the list, 0-2 against Michigan, when we have plenty of guys that are undefeated against them, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
This put him back on the list for me because he's clearly one of our top 2 most talented, probably, with Fields quarterbacks. I wouldn't start him over Troy Smith either. It's Troy and Fields in whatever order you want for me. But he's up there now, like right with those kind of guys. I just wish he would have done that against Michigan. Like, where was this all year?
Yeah. And I don't know if it was him. It was more the play calling in Michigan. And we were playing not to lose. We were playing tentative. This one, we literally were like, I don't give a shit. We got nothing to lose.
Mhm.
Nobody's giving us a chance. That's the most frustrating thing. He was trying things, man. That fake punt. I swear to God, if roles were reversed, they wouldn't have given us the timeout. It
Doesn't
was
matter, though, if you saw that. We had 12 guys on the field when it happened.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't throw a flag though.
No, but they can't until we snap the ball, because it wasn't like we broke a formation. It's once we snap the ball, then it's illegal. So technically we hadn't committed a penalty yet, but
Oh,
we never huddled. If you break the huddle with 12, which we did later on in the game and got a penalty, then it's illegal, but we never broke a huddle, so it wasn't illegal till we snapped it.
but other than that one, I mean, he went for it on 4th and 1, that Stroud run, and there's a freaking penalty. It's just like
That was a bullcrap penalty, actually. That happens every damn play. Every game has those, and they never call it.
yeah.
It's a penalty, but they never call it.
I was almost hoping after they called the timeout right before that fake punt. I was almost hoping we just went for it for real, just to say screw it.
Or just go around the fake again.
Or on the fake again. But if you knew he sniffed it out, I figured they wouldn't do a fake punt. But
No.
But I mean, it was 4th and 1. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, it's 4th and 1. We're like on our own.
How many
30-something.
He's got so many plays he could call on 4th and 1, but I mean, it would have been super risky. But you're right. I mean, if you look at the box score, Stroud only had like 35 rushing yards because of sacks. But
4 sacks, yeah.
if you take those out, he was our leading rusher and our leading passer.
And led our team in attempts, too, in rushing. 12 carries by him. I mean, that's put it out there. Obviously, he has like a perfect passing game. About as perfect as you can expect. 23 for 34, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns. It's crazy. The offense with Dallin Hayden having to be the main back for most of the game and Xavier Johnson playing some running back. Kudos to both for the job they did. I think they did what they were asked to do. Just keep them honest, kind of playing back there. Obviously, Harrison making all kinds of money in the first half, whooping on Keely Ringo and that defense. And then they made some adjustments, Georgia did, to take him out of the game. Kind of, they were rolling that safety over top of him every single play, and then let Igbuka go nuts in the second half. He had 5 catches for like 80 yards in the second half and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So it was everything you want to see out of these guys. Julian Fleming had a nice game.
Yep.
Receivers all played their butts off, as you would expect. Obviously, Kate Stover got hurt early trying to hurdle somebody. My wife's like, why do they always try to do that stupid hurdle? They're not even that athletic. I'm like, because tight ends know they're going for their legs, so they know that they can try to hurdle them. But,
I think our game plan more than people think. I think he was going to be. They were going to target him, more than they did at least the last couple games, because he kind of disappeared the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least I know they targeted him in Michigan, but he had a bad game.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm expecting a big game out of him, and it seemed like in the beginning it was going to go that way. But I wanted to know. I've just not even wanted to read or listen or anything. Just hide in my dark hole, crawl up in a ball. But what was up with Mayan? I mean, he played. He had a freaking touchdown, but he had like 7 carries or something.
No, he had 3. That was his last carry. That
3?
Touchdown.
Yeah. Well, they never said shit about that. That was pissing me off.
I think he was still hurt from the regular season. Now, they said he had an illness during the week, and that's what they kind of blamed him on. But I think he was still hurt. He looked like he was hurt. The way he was walking around, he looked hurt. So we're going to do a podcast about what we expect next year or what we need to improve or whatever. And injury management, we got to take a long look at what we've been doing, because having all those guys, it's ridiculous to have Henderson and Mayan playing against the Toledos of the world and Maryland and Northwestern when they're hurt, and then you don't have them for Michigan and you don't have them for the playoff. Like, that's why they're there, to win those.
point.
We don't need them to win those other games.
Yeah.
Like, we could start me at running back and win most of those games.
We playing Chip Tranum and Xavier Johnson back then at running back.
Yeah. Willingness and Hayden, of course.
Yeah, Hayden.
Last thing I'll say about the offense is it is ironic to me that Day has been so reluctant to use Hayden, so reluctant all year. It's like only in emergency situations, and talks about ball security whenever he talks about him. So he's probably fumbling on in practice and yada yada. Then one of the biggest damn plays of the year, he turns around and hands the ball off to him.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
National championship on the line.
I was like,
yeah.
I mean, fumbling's like one of the. At that point, you're thinking you're going to get some yards and get the field goal. So fumbling's like one of the only things you cannot have happen. And you turn around and finally hand it off to the guy who you refused to hand the ball off to because he doesn't get to care of the ball.
That is when we needed. Like, if Mayan was healthy, man, he could have got 3 or 4 yards there, maybe.
Yeah.
God damn.
So that's most of the good of the game. Those guys all balled out. Now to the bad. That defense minus the third quarter was 2020 dog shit defense all over again. We had, again, a middle linebacker guarding the fastest guy on their team in a coverage scheme. We're going, again, what we had problems with against Michigan, cover 0 with a safety on the second fastest guy, same guy, fastest guy on the team, and he's turned around like he doesn't even know how to run and falls on the ground and gives up what is really the play that swung the game right there. That play just completely opened up the opportunity for them to win that game.
I think at that point it was 8 minutes left. We were up 11, and I'm thinking, okay, worst case scenario, we give up a touchdown, but you make them bleed like 5 minutes a clock, right?
3 to 4, maybe worst case. So then you run the 4-minute offense and win the game.
You run 4-minute offense. If you have to settle for a field goal, fine, but you leave them like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But what you don't do, you don't get super freaking risky and leave one guy on their best player, because what could happen? That exact scenario.
Not their best player, he's their fastest player, and that's I mean, it wasn't even a good route. He just got caught with his eyes in the backfield, Ransom did, then tried to turn too quick and wasn't athletic enough to make that turn, quite frankly.
I just don't. I swear we weren't that as aggressive the whole game until the fourth quarter, which is when we didn't need to be aggressive because we had a freaking lead.
Yeah. It's also, somebody brought up a good point that I read. That call came after the fourth down that we didn't go for. We had the fake punt on.
Yeah.
But then we punted it, which is the conservative play, but the correct one. I mean, I no problem with Dave punting the ball there.
Yeah, no.
Even if he had never tried the fake punt, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
You can't follow up a conservative play call like that with aggressiveness on the other side. It doesn't make any sense. You're not marrying, like, when they say complimentary football, they don't just mean like run the ball a bunch so you can play good defense. So like that's not the only complimentary football there is. There is other types, and this is one of them where you have to match what one side's doing with the other, or it's pointless to be a conservative on offense and then aggressive on defense. That's
you're right. If you're going to be that aggressive on defense, then frickin' go for it.
Yeah.
On that fourth down, because if you don't get it, I'd almost rather them have gone for it and not gotten it, and then we're less susceptible to give up that huge play.
Yeah. And then, I mean, but the defense as a whole, pass rush pretty much not there all night. We got home a couple of times. It's hard to do. They're good on the line, especially pass blocking, a lot like ours.
I mean, they had 0 sacks since like October, and we had like 3, I think.
2 sacks.
2 sacks?
Yeah, 2 official sacks, and then we blew up a couple other plays. But really, the D-line was not there all night. Like, without us blitzing, we were not getting pressure, which has been a problem for 3 years now, to be honest. Linebackers, I thought, actually played pretty well. They made some plays. Eichenberg missed a couple tackles, I thought, but it wasn't. And they threw all over Eichenberg. I saw that stat. They were targeted 9 for 9 for 127 yards and a touchdown. But what are you going to do with your middle linebackers caught in coverage? I'm not expecting him to unless his name's Levante David or Darius Leonard or something, or Shaq, whatever he goes by, Shaq Leonard now. I'm not expecting much out of that. But so the linebackers, I thought, were the best unit again, like they have been most of the year. And then the secondary was complete garbage. especially the safeties.
Yeah.
I guess Cam Brown, actually, I'll give him some credit. He made a couple plays. He finally located the ball. Shocking, I know.
Yeah.
But the safeties didn't tackle. Lathan Ransom and Ronnie Hickman played like he didn't want to be there, just like he did against Michigan. There was a key play on not one of their last drives, but they hit a post, and he was the deep safety, and he played way too deep and basically didn't even try to run up and make the tackle. He was like letting the guy that was guarding the guy make the tackle. He didn't even try. I'm like, what are you doing out there? There was other times I'm watching him do pre-snap motions with guys, and he's not. He's walking around like he's in practice. Like, get your butt over there, run with him. What are you doing? You're not athletic enough to be just sauntering around back out there.
Yeah,
Ransom, obviously, we talked about the touchdown he gave up. He also missed several tackles in the hole. He was horrible. McAllister got beat a couple times because he wasn't looking for the ball, but, what are you going to do, I guess, with him? Sometimes he has athletic limitations. But it's just, if you're running a 4-2-5 and you're playing three safeties all the time, you better have three goddamn good safeties. And we don't. We thought they were good, but they're not. And that's going to be the big thing to fix in the offseason, perhaps, but that was just terrible. Special teams were okay, but once again, not special. Because, like I said, even if we run the fake punt and it worked, we had 12 men on the field, so it would have been a penalty on us. Ruggles is Ruggles. Don't blame him. Don't yell at him. You're yelling at. It's like yelling at. I don't know. It's like yelling at Mac Jones for the Patriots because he can't throw a Hail Mary because he just can't do it. Like, Ruggles just doesn't have the leg to make that kick. He's never, like, every time he's kicked 50-yarders, it's not come close to making it in college. And in the spring games, I remember him just missing them all the time. So I did not have a high expectation of him making that kick. Like I said, it's exactly what I expected to happen. I've seen that kick a million times in college, where it's a longer kick for a not-so-great kicker. He tries to overkick it, and he just yanks the crap out of it. And
part of me is hoping we went for it.
Throw the Hail Mary.
Well, no, didn't we still have a timeout?
Oh, yeah, I guess we could. Yeah, we could have got first down.
We could have got a first down, called timeout, kick it from there. But
I guess with his ability, you're right. The analytics probably actually say that is the best play.
yeah, if you know he's like 1 out of 10 from 50 plus or whatever his number is.
Never made a 50-yarder, so.
Yeah, or you've seen him in practice. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What does he make in practice? 2 out of 10? Like, national championship on the line? Fuck it. You got these.
0 chance that was going.
Yeah.
So 0 chance.
Go for it. I mean, I was not saying that in the moment, but when I look back, I'm like, man, I bet the odds of getting that first down were higher than him making that kick.
But I don't blame Dave for that choice either. The only choices I blame Dave for, the second to last possession. So this is also the bad for Day. And this game for Day, I think, summarizes his career, and I think pretty much cements to me what he is. Like, there's not a lot of unknowns with him anymore after 4 years now. We wasted 3 timeouts in the game, 2 in the first half, and then 1 in the second half, which ended up being kind of key on trying to avoid delay games because the offensive play is not getting it fast enough because we're trying to change it to the last second, which drives me insane because we're a no-huddle offense. It should never happen, ever. Then what else does he like to do is change the play at the last second. So then a lot of times we're hurrying it up and we're having to snap, we're having to double clap and snap it because we're changing the play at the last second. It almost never works. And on second down and like 7 on that second to last drive, we're up 38-35. He calls he changes it at the last second. We're doing the hurry up thing, and it's like the fake throwback pass, and then you turn back and throw it back to the original side that you looked at. And we get sacked for like a 10-yard loss because they were blitzing and right into us. and CJ had no chance.
And then it was like 3rd and 17, right?
Yeah. And then Ruggles actually makes that long. That was like a 47-yarder that he made.
Yeah. That's why I was thinking.
It barely cleared it. The distance was barely there.
That's why I was thinking we needed like 5 yards because he just made that. But I didn't think 50 was good enough.
No, but I think that was another, it's a classic weakness of his as a play caller. And in general, I think he got conservative in the fourth quarter. We only scored 3 points. It was just not the same game plan that we'd shown. But Marvin had been hurt as well, and at that point, you're down so many guys. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
to an extent. But he coaches his butt off. He puts together great game plans. But now the facts are the facts. He's 1-5 against playoff teams. 1-3 or 1-3 in the actual playoffs, but 1-5 against playoff teams. The 2 losses to Michigan. You just got to be better. We're not a moral victory. Like I said, it felt weird after the game because I can't be too mad at anything, and I like to get mad. You know me. I like to get mad a little bit. It gets my juices flowing. Can't be too mad, but I can't be happy because we are not a moral victory program. Playing the number 1 team in the country to 1-point loss is not acceptable because blowing a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter is definitely not acceptable ever.
The way I explained it was like I knew we could play like that, and there's so many haters out there that talked so much shit since that Michigan loss, and it was like we proved them all wrong, but we still lost the game.
Yeah,
it's like God.
So you're almost all wrong. Not quite, because you gotta get over the.
You
can't blow a 14-point lead. It's still some of the same. We've been outscored 56-17 in the fourth quarter against Michigan the last 2 years. Just got outscored 18-3 in this game. Got outscored badly by Oregon in the fourth quarter in that game too, I believe.
Yeah,
it's a problem. It's a problem. Like, and it's on day to fix that. I don't know if he can. That's where I wanted a little. This is like the one mystery is can he? He seems like he can acknowledge these problems. Like CJ's not running the ball. He finally got him to run the ball in the game. Like maybe he can. And like last year he fired Combs and brought in Knowles, and Knowles made the same. Didn't in the end Knowles. I guess we need to switch over to Knowles now. So Knowles, who are the 4 best offenses we play statistically, Casey?
I would say Penn State, Michigan, Georgia, and Maryland.
That's correct. All of them scored at least 30 points. All of them had at least 450 yards of offense. All of them actually outgained us in the game. Defense, not fixed. I don't care what our rankings said. Not fixed. Because every offense that was actually any good did the same thing that everybody else did to us last year. So I guess it's been improved, but it is not fixed. Now, obviously, fixing it 1 year is not as easy as people thought it was going to be, self included. Once I was hearing how good the D line was going to be, and then that never came to fruition. They were never as good as they were being hyped up in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that we could actually turn it around like that because we did it in 2019. But rarely does that actually happen. You don't go from the 70th best defense to the 10th best defense or something like that. You go from 70th to like the 30th, which is probably what we actually were this year, even though statistically we were higher than that.
Yeah.
But now the pressure's on, man. You get paid $2 million a year. You're getting paid head coach money at any non-P5 school to fix this defense. You were paid that's what I said before the drive started. I was like, Knowles is about to earn his $2.2 million here, or going to try to, because that's what you're here for, is to stop Georgia on that drive, and they didn't put up any fight on that final drive.
Yeah, you're up 6. They're getting the ball back. All you got to do is keep them out of the end, going to a freaking natty, and couldn't do it.
Close. Wasn't even close. They ran through like a hot butter. And yeah, he's gonna. And I think part of it's personnel issues, especially in the secondary. I just don't think we have the dudes. Larry Johnson, my man, I love you. And I'll give the Haas some credit here. He's been on I'm not sure Larry Johnson's the guy anymore, bandwagon. And I'm at that point now because we have not had anybody who could generate a pass rush on their own, besides like one game out of JTT. Now, JTT's close a lot of times this year, but he's also a 5-star, number 3 overall player in the country talent. Like, he should be doing that, exactly what he did. He probably underperformed compared to that expectation that comes to that.
And
so with everything you've done, but I don't know if you're the guy anymore.
Yeah, I'm not quite there, but I'm there because, I mean, he is a legend. But to be fair, the Haas says everybody's not the right guy unless they're shit and gold and their name's Nick Saban. So eventually he's going to be right on one of them.
Yeah, he's definitely right about this part in particular. But we were all wrong about CJ Stroud, so I'll go back one more time. CJ, I apologize. You were the man on Saturday. That's about as good as I've ever seen a high state quarterback play. Like maybe Fields against Clemson, maybe JT Barrett against Michigan State, or Troy against Michigan. Those are about the only games I can. Troy in the 1-2 game against Michigan. About the only ones I can think of where I thought the quarterback is in the same vicinity of what he just did Saturday night.
And it's funny because, like, he put up ungodly stats in that Rose Bowl, but it was against a Utah secondary that was, missing a lot of guys. This was against
starting a running back at quarterback or corner.
This was against arguably, and maybe not even arguably, the best defense in the country, and he just tore him to shreds. And then once we lose our best weapon and our best tight end and all fill in the blank, eventually it took its toll.
Yeah, hard to overcome all that. Well, in the end, though, the season, even this is Day's stated goals. Everybody knows the other goals. Beat Michigan, win the Big Ten championship, win that championship. 0 for 3 on the year, and all of them were within our grasp and kind of set up for us with at various points. We had the lead in both the Michigan game and early, but we had it at halftime.
Yeah.
Had the lead against Michigan at halftime. Had the lead 14-point lead in the fourth quarter against Georgia. Blew both. It's not getting the job done that's expected here. And now we're going to lose a lot, and there's a lot of questions in the offseason. I don't know, but like I said, it's hard to feel bad about the effort they put forth. That was a great effort from the boys. They played their tails off, and Georgia's a really good team. And we can really quick. We got good job, TCU. Way to keep the Wolverines from winning the national championship. Love you now.
Yes.
Are you a believer in TCU now? You've been not a believer all year.
No. I think Georgia rolls them. I think they win by 20. The spread's like 13.5, I think.
Yeah, seems high.
I'd pick Georgia on that one.
Well, if you've been picking against TCU all year, you've been losing your money, son. Which now you can, and you can put money on it in a very legal way.
I think we exposed. That was the one thing I was gonna say is, like, a lot of people were like, "Well, I was expecting us to get killed, so it was a happy blah blah blah." Fuck that, first of all. But I wasn't that shocked. I mean, their one weakness was their secondary, and we had the best receiving core and quarterback in the country to expose it, and we did. I expected a hell of a game. I wouldn't have been surprised with any outcome, to be honest. But it was not shocking to me, but just the way we lost was just heartbreaking.
I was a little surprised that we scored that many points. I wasn't surprised what happened to our defense. I said that to you guys pre-game, like in our text many times. I was like, I did not expect our defense to stop them at all. And it's pretty much what happened. But offensively, CJ proved me wrong. I didn't know he had it. I didn't think he had it in him to do what he did. But he did. He played a perfect game, pretty much. A perfect game from a quarterback. So kudos to him. But next year, the goal's still the goal. Next year, let's go get it again, see what we do, who this quarterback battle will be. We're going to do a preview of a little way too early instant reaction from the end of this season for preview for next season and talk about kind of stuff we're going to put together for the offseason. But that'll do it for this episode. Go Bucks no matter what.
Go Bucks.
Hey guys! Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
A rich man's world.